welcome. Hannah had this great idea for little mini easels, and she wanted to make a video. So I told her that we could do this together today, and so she's going to give you the step by step of how to make this mini easel with popsicle sticks. So go ahead.
So this is what they look like in the end if they're painted, but you don't have to paint it. So the first thing that you're going to do is going to take 2 popsicle sticks, a ruler, and 2 pieces of tape. I'm going to just move these out. So what you want to do first is tape.
You want to make sure, though, that this ruler is actually really straight when you put it down.
Then you just want to tape it down on the edges so that it doesn't move, like that. Then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to line these up where they're touching here and they're flat against the ruler like this, so that you don't have this happen where it's uneven and you have to try to fix it somehow. So once they're lined up, you just want to take this one off, take the hot glue gun, and just put a dot of glue. Then you want to quickly put it on and line it back up. Okay, so it's lined up, so we don't really need the ruler anymore, so I'm just going to move that out of the way. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to put the little, what would you call this? The bar?
Yeah, it's like a bar, the place where you set your canvas on.
Yes. So for this part, you're just going to take like 2 tiny dots of glue wherever you want it. And try to put it on pretty neatly so there's not anything on the top of it, so that the canvas or whatever you're trying to put on it doesn't have like a bump.
Mm-hmm. And you want to make sure it's really straight too.
Yes.
Okay, so what do you do next?
So there's 2 options for what you could do next. So you can either put a back on it like this so it stands up on its own, or you can put magnets on it like this so that it can go on the fridge and you can put things on.
Or maybe you could put it
Yeah.
down here at the bottom to support it more evenly. So that's an option, refrigerator option. Cool.
But today I'm going to be doing the option where it can stand up on its own. So the first thing that you need to do when you're making the back is to actually cut the top off where it's round, and it should break into like 3 pieces, which is what you're trying to do, 3 or 4.
Maybe hold that up, show it's got some cracks in it.
Which is perfectly fine because you need to break it anyway. So you just want to take the pieces off like this, and it's really easy since you just cut it and it already had cracks. Now the next part is you have to glue all of the pieces together. So I usually start with the biggest one just so I can put,
Yeah, and we want to say be careful, maybe have a parent help you with
Yes.
this. I think that, I'm 45 years old and I still burn myself on the glue gun. So just have someone help you. You can use a spoon or a tweezer or something if you're worried about hurting yourself.
And you just layer all of the pieces together. Now normally it's 3, but this one happened to break into 4 pieces. So you're doing the same thing, there's just 4 pieces. Just layering it up piece by piece. And this is sort of a crucial step to how well your little easel is made. Because without this, the piece can, the like stand part can go inward and then like and then fall over.
Oh, okay, so this little piece stops the easel from popping off and it supports the weight.
Yes.
Okay.
So now that we have this piece, we're going to take the little stand and we're gonna see how far we want it back. We don't want it to be leaning forward because then it doesn't hold anything and it just falls off. So we want to make sure that it's back, like to about here, so that it has gravity on its side and it helps hold.
The angle is good for supporting the weight of the canvas. Yeah, okay.
So then you just want to take glue and make sure there's plenty on there so that it doesn't just fall off. And you kind of have to hold it for a second because it needs to dry. So and in case you didn't know, when like hot glue starts turning whitish, it's like after it's heated up, it's pretty much almost dry or a little tacky. But we don't want to wait so long that we can't put the hot glue in here for the support, so you just want to put like a good amount of hot glue and then you just push it in so that it supports.
And I think setting it back up again might be a good idea while it's drying or cooling, just to make sure it actually is level. It's great. And then you can just pull all your little nerdlies off. You want to make sure you do get in there and get those nerdlies, right? Because that will show up if you paint your easel later on.
And if you're so, like, if you made it where it, like, is back more at, like, a farther...
Bigger angle?
Bigger angle. And, like, this piece doesn't fill all the way, you might want to add some hot glue just to seal it, but you want to be careful doing this because we don't want you to burn yourself. It might be wise to have an adult do this part. So that's pretty much it. Of course, after the hot glue is dry, you have the option of painting it. Like we painted these ones 2 different solid colors so that the painting or watercolor or whatever you're using shows up better. And that's it.
Very cool. Okay, so the next step that we're going to show you after I clear all this out of the way, these nerdlies, is what can you put on it? So right here I have this thing I'll show you in a second. We took a paper plate and we cut out the center. If you can see here, I just cut the center out of it. And I'm going to save this piece because I may end up using this piece. We don't want to throw things away because you can use this for making templates, or I think I might, in the future, I might try to make some sort of a little Easter door hanger and use this like a little wreath for that. But you can use stuff like this for a lot of things. And what I suggested is, you know, I'm kind of lazy sometimes. So, like, you could get a ruler out and you could try to, you know, fiddle fart with it and all that. But I like this playing card, King of Spades. We're going to lay him down in the center of the middle of our paper plate and just use something around the house. You could use a matchbox. You could use, you know, a Tupperware lid if it was sort of squarish, or just any piece of cardboard that's the shape that you want. And of course, you could always do, you know, you could even do a circle. If you wanted to use your tape to do a circle. The circle will roll a little bit, so it might need a little bit of double-sided tape on the back if you're going to put it on your easel, okay? But I'm going to show you really quick. This is what I did. I just took this, and this paper plate, I mean, I know it's a paper plate, and the thing that I'm really trying to do and what Hannah and I really like is trying to find things around the house that you already have, and understanding that you don't have to have, if you don't have to have all these fancy things. I mean, if you are going to be doing art in long term, you want to have good supplies because you never know when a masterpiece may occur.
Exactly.
But for times like this, you really don't have to let those things stop you from being creative. Creativity comes in all times of the night, and even when you can't go out and get supplies, you should have stuff around the house maybe that you can use, okay? So then what we would do is we just take a pair of scissors. If you're a real nerd, you can use a ruler and an X-Acto knife, but X-Acto knives can be a little dangerous for younger kids. And,
yes.
I think a pair of scissors is sufficient to just follow your line. I like this one because it sort of has like a little tiny curved edge, which I think looks kind of cool. So that's what I did. Okay, I did that, and then I took my painter's tape and I just did a little masking on the outside to show you this demonstration. I do need to get something underneath my work. Get me a piece of paper, please, and because this board will soak up any marker, and I'm a messy Tessie. So let's put this down to protect our work because I am using Sharpie or a permanent marker. You could use Crayola, you can use crayons, pencils, whatever you got. Okay, so here's my little surface, and I think what I'm actually going to do is I am going to take another piece of tape and just affix it to my work surface, just because I folded my tape over and it's a little bit bumpy, to keep it nice and clear for the people at home. I will go ahead and just glue it down with a piece of, well, not glue, but tape it down with a piece of painter's tape. Now, so let's show you how you could do a little painting. What should we do a painting of? Should it be abstract, or should it be, maybe, let's do a flower. How about that? Have something simple. So I'll start off with something like this. And, the painting doesn't have to be what I'm doing, but this is just a demonstration of how cute things can look with very simple supplies. Okay, so we have a simple flower with a leaf, and we are cut off a little bit on the corners, but that's okay. And what I'm going to do first is start with my background. I don't know if I'll like this color, but I'm just going to grab what I got. I'll use this as a little tester. I like to see what I'm getting myself into. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and just do this outline just so I can see with my old lady eyes what I'm doing. And then I'm going to fill in this backdrop. I kind of like the idea of having that tape there because it's going to make our finished product look a little bit more professional, even though nobody has to know we are doing this at home in our dining room with a paper plate. Ha ha ha. But I really highly encourage you to do some fun stuff and then post it because, your art can inspire others and make everybody super happy about, doing art at home at this time. Okay, let's find a different color. Let me see. I think all of those are a little bit darker than I'd like. I don't know about this one. This one might be too green. Yeah, that might work. Okay, so let's put some of this in there, and then I'm going to go some of it with a little bit darker. It might be fun for us to try doing some rubbing alcohol with some abstract pieces. We'll have to try that out and give you a video on that maybe a little bit later. Oop, I went into my flower a little bit. No worries. Okay. Now, I don't know what I want to do at the bottom. Maybe I better just go ahead and do the sky color just to show our leaf better. I was thinking about doing green down there, but, All right, so we got the basic background of our flower, and let's see, blue and orange look really good together. I'm maybe gonna pick a selection. These are the Bic marking pens, fine point permanent markers. They're a lot like the Sharpie and the way they're made. These are the wide tips, and then the other tips are, the tops look like this. They are a fine tip, so you can do some fine details with those, and I have a range of those colors. Okay, so let's, oh yeah, and we also have some metallics too. Hannah was reminding me. Let's see if we want to, oh, that's really super dark. I don't know if I want to, I like that, but it's super opaque and it's super dark. I don't know. I wish I had one kind of in between. Let me just try this one out. Let's do just a few little marks at the top to give some depth, but I don't want to go too crazy. You know, I feel like I could almost get a Q-tip with some alcohol and just do a little rub. You want to try that? You want to go get me a Q-tip and some alcohol? Okay, while I work on this flower. Okay, when we're doing this, we always want to start with the light color first, and then move to darks. So like any of the bright colors that you're going to use, you want to use, you know, those first, wherever you want the lightest parts to be. And you can change your mind, of course, but it works better to start light and move to dark when you're doing stuff like this. Just a little tip from your friendly neighborhood art teacher. All right. So I started off with the yellow, and I'm going to move into warmer tones and then to orange. Under the sink, sweetheart. She's asking me a question. I'm sorry. She's trying to help me out here. She went and got me some Q-tips, but there's some supplies under the sink in the bathroom she's gonna get, and I'm gonna just come in here and do just a little bit of a next level. I did get a little bit of, you know, blue there, but that's okay. I should have been wearing my glasses. I'm not wearing my glasses, which when you get old like me, that is kind of important. All right, so we got our colors going on here. And, you know, you can do anything you want. You could just do designs, or the sky's the limit. And it's a paper plate, people, so you can do as many as you want. You could do one every day and have a little art show in your house. Would be fun. Okay, so we see that that's coming, and I'm going to take my yellow again, and I'm just going to kind of use it to blend. Do you see how that the stuff that they use in these is like I think an alcohol-based ink? So you can come in here with the yellow you began with, and you can see how we transition from this yellow to this sort of more blended, and it makes a nice transition. And we'll probably do the same thing again, because I'm going to go a little bit darker with my orange now as I work my way out in the flower. And so now we're going to go with maybe this. And I'm going to start just with a little outline, just because I think the flower is so small that we won't need to do a whole bunch of wide coloring on this part, because the petal itself is so small. Hannah's making a racket over here. She got all inspired and is making her own artwork off to the side. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with my fine tip. And I wish I had a fine tip red. I don't see one in here. This may not be dark enough. I may have to go to the red. But, oh wait, no, I don't want to do that yet. I want to do this orange again. And then do a sort of blendy situation here, if you all can see. We're sort of dragging that other color inward to create some interest in the piece, and it's blending. Now you can do similar things on this with Crayola, but the thing is, the alcohol markers, I think they do a better job of blending, but the surface of this paper plate really is coated a little bit, so it lends itself to kind of mixing on the surface. And And of course, you know, these are finer tips, which for smaller things, you really need a finer tip than Crayola has. But, you know, you can make it work. All right, so now we've done that little mixy-moo there, and then we're going to do maybe a thin line for some little details. I don't know that this orange is going to be dark enough. And I really wish I had a red fine tip marker. Maybe I can try to find one later, but yeah. I'll go ahead and do this little circle in here. I'm not sure what the center will be yet. But you know, you can even come in here and do some little detail marks to bring in the design a little, going in the same direction. It's kind of fun. Hannah, what color do you think we should make the inside? I was actually thinking either like a teal or a purple, just because it would be dynamic against the yellow. Purple? Okay. So we'll do that in just a second. I'm just putting some little details. And you could
maybe a shiny purple.
I don't know. Sometimes I have a love-hate relationship with the metallics. Okay. And so, let's see what this looks like first before we jump in. I like that color. All right, let's go ahead and do, this is pretty dark, so let's go ahead and do the center. And I'm going to try an experiment in the middle of this. We're going to cover it pretty dark. This may or may not work, my friends, because, you know, so that's what happens when you're inventing new techniques. Sometimes you fail and sometimes you're successful. Now, she has a cap full of alcohol here. And we are going to pour just a little bit in the cap. And I made a total mess out of it. I'll just set it here on this guy. If you all can see that, I don't know. And then we're gonna try this. Now, I've never tried this. I'm gonna try it on the paper plate on the side here and see what happens. But we do get a little bit of a blending going on.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if I'll be able to get the technique that I was thinking here, but let's give it a try. I thought I would just dot it with the alcohol for texture. Oh, I made a really big dot there. And then maybe take something and mop it up. Like a piece of paper towel. Yeah, didn't work as well as I'd hoped. Let's try it again. Put some dots on there. Just quickly before it dries, put your finger on it and mop it up. Yeah, it doesn't work as well as I thought. I had hoped that I'd be able to remove some of that marker, but I scrubbed it in pretty good. So we'll have to rely on maybe our metallics to help us lighten this again. So maybe using this marker, we can put a few little tiny dots inside just to give some texture to our flower. That looks pretty cute. Okay. And then I'm going to go in with red. Now you have to be careful. I don't have a fine line, so this is all I've got. This red looks almost more pink, but yeah. I'm going to go ahead and do the edge. And then I'm going to put a little crease in the center. Yeah, I'm not thinking that this red's really doing all that much, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with it.
There's a slight difference.
It feels almost like the orange now. But it gives a little bit more depth. And I put 3 little, one long one and 2 little ones in each one, just to give it a little bit more flash. Okay, so then I'm going to do a very light green. As I said before, we're doing light to dark. I'm testing out things, and I think that light green is actually the yellow that had touched the blue. but I think I'll just keep it simple maybe. Those are about the same color.
They're the same color.
So I will use these three, the two fats and a fin, okay? Starting, of course, with the light. And I might actually even put some yellow. First, I'm going to make the outline, just because I have trouble seeing. And I'm going to make my stem a little longer at the bottom than at the top. And then let's do a little yellow. We'll do a little color mixing. So I know it seems weird, but I'm going to do some like highlights on this leaf before I do the green. And then the green, oops, I did my fine line. When I color this, some of it will have, well, that's what I thought it would do. Still, that coating is really creating an interesting thing here. So it's not really working like it would on normal paper, but I'm going to go ahead and just color this in with the lighter green that I have. And then maybe I can use the marker on the surface to create some guidelines for me for highlighting. So I'm just kind of floating some extra color on there. And then maybe, and you got to be careful about this because you will mess up your markers a little bit, but you know I'm going for broke today. So come in here and lift some of this out. The marker's starting to fight me now because it's full of green. Then you want to clean your marker. So come over here and clean off your marker before, it looks like this got some paint or something on it, which might be why I'm having trouble. But anyway, clean your marker off when you get done. Get that green off of that yellow. And then we're going to go in with our dark green. This dark green's just a little bit darker. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of try to make that look like it didn't get cut off. And then do our center, and then a couple of these lines. Being careful to not mark the places where the yellow was, because then it really shows that it's highlighted. So another one here. Okay, and then we're going to just give a little shadow to our flower. And I am going to add, I have it, I'm going to put this dark purple in the center. I may be sorry, but it looks more like blue when I looked at it. I think this will work, but I'm going to just do this outline right here. And hopefully it won't take away, but it'll kind of give a few more darks in there. I might be sorry I did that, but sometimes that happens with me. I want to show it off a little bit more, and I think it just needed a little bit more depth with the shadows. And you can make this a wiggly line if you want, okay? All right, so there's our piece, and now we're going to kind of do the same thing with the same color that I just used. And when I layer it, it sort of looks like a dark green. And you know, your leaves could be spiky, pokey leaves, or they could be smooth leaves like this. It could be more realistic or just sort of like stylistic like this one is. And then I'll do a dark line here. Okay, so there's our picture. Now, let's try something else. Let's try a little alcohol for blending the background. Hopefully I can do it without messing too much up, but I just thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of make it look like a watercolor when I ended up dipping into my flower, but that's kind of cool. Got a little pink on that side. Yeah, this may not even be worth it, really. It might mess you up more than help you. That's a thought. Okay. And then we'll, of course, let our piece dry, and we want to sign our name because we are legit artists. So I'm going to use that tiny blue one that I had because it's so little. And then I'm just going to put my initials. And I always like to put the year. Okay? You don't have to sign your work. But for this, what's the harm? Kind of fun. I tell my kids at school that we put our names on the back until we're famous. So I don't want my kids putting their name on their work on the fronts until they're famous. Because, as we all know, we like to write our name really big sometimes, and then we cover up our artwork with our name, and then nobody can see our artwork. So I'm going to carefully remove this. You have to be careful with this tape. I didn't, even though it's supposed to be painter's tape and it's supposed to remove easy, I have found that on some surfaces, you see, it's pretty strong when it touches itself. You have to be careful because it might tear your paper. And since we're not using legit paper, we're using a paper plate, we got to be even more careful. So I'm going to carefully remove this. Hopefully I'm not smearing the front of my work. That looks pretty okay. All right, I'm sorry, this has taken me a lot longer than I ever expected.
It's strong tape.
Oh, it's doing what I was hoping it wouldn't do. Did bleed through a little bit with that alcohol, but if I hadn't used the alcohol, it probably would have been fine. And you can even go with a ruler and make an outline on this if you wanted to neaten that up. But isn't that a cute little picture? And what if you did one every day? You'd have, moms who like to scrapbook, after we get through all this and we've all done our little, going back to school and everybody gets it, we can do a little scrapbook and maybe put these in a scrapbook. This is gonna bother me because I'm a nerd. Where's that ruler, sweetheart? I'm gonna take my ruler and, if you have a little paint marker, you have to be careful because this will, it will smear, so I have to be careful. But I'm just going to take a little, it did smear on that one. Just a little bit of gold paint marker and hit the corners carefully, trying not to smear it like I just did. Okay, maybe this wasn't a good idea. But here I am. Smeared everywhere. Oh well, maybe I should have just done it by hand. That might have been the better way to go.
You could just color the corners.
Yeah, you can leave it white, or, in my case, when you mess it up, make it gold. Perfect plan. My daughter's so smart. Okay, so be careful not to get this. This paint takes a while to dry, and parents, it does have fumes, this gold paint pen. But, you could use a gold Sharpie or some other sort of non-toxic thing to do it. Okay, make sure you have plenty of ventilation when you use paint markers, and I don't really recommend paint markers for young children. They can be a real mess. But I think that this really looks good. And, we made our beautiful, easel. And now we have a place that we can display these beautiful artworks that we've made. And how much fun would it be, and so simple, to create little works of art for every day. And they can even be mailed and shared with your friends. Like if you want to make some little cards and send them to your friend in the mail, or use them as your Facebook cover picture or something. I think this turned out really nice. I'm glad that you were with us and you had joined us to make this beautiful little mini easel that my daughter created, and these little paper plate paintings. We hope you have a great day. Enjoy yourselves, and don't forget to be thankful for all that you have and be joyous in this time together and do art. It's a lot of fun. Have a great day. Bye-bye.